friends. Brett's with friends. Brett's with friends. It's never going to end.
We are on the air. This is the 46th episode of my silly little podcast, Brett's with Friends. And I am with Catalina Guirado.
Guirado. That was Guirado.
Guirado-Cheadle.
A good attempt.
It's a shitty attempt, but I tried. I knew I was going to get it wrong. Okay, got to get this right off the bat before anything else. Any relation to Don Cheadle?
We get asked that a lot when it's useful. Yes. Very good at airports. Put it that way.
It's a good one to have in the pocket.
Yeah, as long as my husband's not with me, it's fine. Then they might get.
Have you ever met Don Cheadle?
No, I haven't. But apparently we call him Cousin Don.
Okay.
Just for
He's a super nice guy. I probably think that he would be. So let's see. Before we start picking your brain, because there's a lot as an artist that I have to talk to you about. You are a gallerist, art dealer. What? Fill in the blanks. What else am I missing?
Okay, so I basically represent my late father's art estate, Juan Antonio Guirado, who's a Spanish artist. So which when he passed away 11 years ago, I took over the running of the estate. So basically I put on exhibitions, international exhibitions with museums, shows, managing and rebranding his art. And I've kind of moved into consulting with other artists on how to manage their estates, especially if should the inevitable happen or something tragic happen, you basically need to have your shit together. Don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but yeah, because
you can say anything you want on this show.
Yeah, having dealt with an artist that passed away and left everything in big, well, you didn't realize, obviously had cancer, didn't think he was going to die. And yeah, so you kind of get left with a big mess. So I've kind of moved into that. And then I also create textile designs myself because I studied art and fine art and history of art. So I moved into using art as inspiration for textile designs. And then I do photography as well for that.
Nice.
All round things. I get my creativeness and then my business side.
Are you still in Malibu?
No, we're in the Hollywood, in the hills.
Oh.
I know.
I'm staying right near the Hollywood Bowl right now.
Oh, should have come around and just done it together.
Yeah. Well, actually, I like the format of this. Actually, if I do it apart, there's a technical thing that happened. Like I had to redo one because we had an echo,
right?
And that just destroyed the whole thing, and it kind of sucked because it was really good. So that was with Robert Carradine,
right?
Great guy. But it sucked. I was really mad about that. But so I like this format for until it gets better or something else comes along that's better.
Yeah, cool.
So I'm also having an art show this weekend. If you're around, come on by at the house. Oh, you're frozen up. Okay. So where do we begin? Okay, so you're back. Okay, as far as handling and managing art and artists, as an artist, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing right? I'm producing a lot of artwork. I'm gonna make this about myself for a second because I gotta know the trick, the hook, why because I know I need to find a designer. Sometimes that works out good because people can dress homes and stuff like that, and fill in set pieces or whatever. There's a million different ways to go. What's the trick? I mean, I've been selling my paintings all my life. I sold my first painting when I was like 13 years old, and it's always, been. Exactly. So what do we need to know as artists to take command and get people to see our stuff? My website acts as more of like a portfolio, and I've had a presence on the internet with my art since the very beginning.
Right.
Beginning. I don't think I've ever made a dime off my website. And it acts like a portfolio.
Yeah.
So what I guess it's a long-winded question, but it's a very important one. What should I know, and what are some of the common problems that people and you've experienced in this field?
Right. Well, I can only talk I like to talk from my own personal experience on things like this, because and what I've done to try and get into a better position. Slightly different because I'm running an estate of a past deceased artist, and I'm not the artist that I'm doing all this with. But I think obviously exhibitions, getting it out there as much as possible. I mean, now that the internet and Instagram is creating huge platform for artists, I mean, I see so many great artists on Instagram that I'm like, why do we not know these people? You know, so it is creating an easier reach for artists to get out there and be seen. I think that's really important. I think what you're doing, creating podcasts, doing Instagram, creating maybe a series of talks, working with artists, be creative in your marketing ways to do things, because it's, since COVID especially, this is really going to be breaking forward into the new way of how we market art. We can't go to all the art fairs, etc., and galleries are closed down. So, for example, very exciting from my point of view with Guirado Estate, we've just starting working partnered with Spaniarman Modern Gallery. And that is really as a result of COVID, because it's going on online and on the internet. So many galleries have opened up, has created access for more artists to come onto the roster, so to speak, and for really great art dealers such as Gavin Spaniarman, who I'm working with, to suddenly go, actually, this is really interesting. I wouldn't have been able to do this before because I was paying for a gallery space, but I'm not doing that anymore. Now we can really go for it. And so I think maybe start approaching, there's a lot of galleries and gallerists out there that maybe before you can approach because they just didn't have be able to afford to look after you or represent you. It might be worth going out and approaching people, because there's a lot of people without jobs. Like half the people I know in galleries got laid off, right? So, you know, there's probably a lot of people and a lot of hunger out there to start finding new artists and developing yourself. I mean, as you say, you started this very early on, so good for you. I think keep developing it and keep going with it. Placing art, we weren't able to do that obviously last year, getting it placed in dressings in offices, stuff like that, banks even. That's a really interesting, and that's always a really successful way to get art out there, because a lot of the time when you're dressing homes, people actually want the art on the wall and they ask for everything, right? That's brilliant. That's genius. So I think what you're doing is right. You just have to keep going. But I really actually think there is a new dawn rising for art and artists because of what's happened. And so online and virtual is another way. I'm really into the whole virtual art platforms, and I think it's the art world's very slow, as you know. They're not the artists, but the patrons and stuff. They're really slow to get on board with things. And I don't quite understand why they've got that. The whole VR thing didn't really take off so quickly. But I have personal friends that have developed art platforms, and I'll introduce you actually because it might be interesting. And I'd like to start curating some really cool shows, virtual reality shows with Oculus headsets, because you are actually in a space and you can observe the art up close and personal. And so that, I think that's something else that's really interesting to develop, a way you can go to virtual shows and you can do click to buy straight from there. So this is where I see it going.
I agree. I concur.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah. Okay, cool. Sorry, that was long, but yeah, that's my.
No, you're speaking my language right now.
Okay, cool.
Because I was thinking about doing a virtual art show, but without the Oculus thing, like this Saturday and Sunday while I'm staying at this place, which is temporary. Because I'm sort of in traveling mode. I'm actually in Oregon, and but I'm in LA. But anyways, my main residence is Oregon.
Okay. Oh, cool.
So so I was thinking about just doing a Zoom or a Facebook Live podcast or this Saturday and Sunday, and that way I can take questions and stuff like that. But at the same time, I think people are also, I don't know if it's just LA, but people are spoon-fed things. They're given such a high degree of content and quality of content to look at for free, and also to how do you get okay, because it kind of stumbles into lots of gray area. We're talking art here. We're talking about sales. We're talking about people that are used to making like $5,000 a painting. Not me. I haven't been sold a painting that high in a long time. But the quality of art that I'm producing and selling at the price that I'm selling at it is, there's a huge, giant gap, and we need to fill that gap.
Okay, that was something else I really noticed during COVID. It was a time like people were going after deals, and also obviously nobody's working, so we need to make money, right? I gave some very nice discounts for my father's art last year. I mean, I sold up paintings last year.
I can see it in your eyes.
I gave some very nice discounts to collectors that I knew that wanted, you know, so they lucked out, because that's not happening anymore. I've got no.
I love when people say, "Oh, it's okay. I know where to find you." I said, "Well, I mean, that's."
You've had your COVID special. That was a one-off. So, but what happened was I think people were either going really high end. You saw like the high end market, the blue chip, and then kind of in affordable art, it just, people wanted things for 1,000, 2,000. They weren't going anywhere above 5,000. That's what I personally saw. So it's not so hard to sell things at 5 or 6 or lower, but then anything between that and then 100, you're screwed. That's kind of what I was experiencing. And I'm not really an art dealer. That's why I've handed it over to Spanium and Modern to do.
Well, but you're right in the pocket, though. You have a lot of knowledge. Obviously, I'm learning so much in the last fucking 5 minutes that's ridiculous. This is all the questions I need to ask. But people are like, it's like, you know, I talk to artists. You know, I know a million of them, and I know so many talented people, and you kind of have to, you know, I've been swallowing my pride and my, you know, for years when it comes to selling art, is like, okay, it's a $1,500 painting. I guess it's $500 right now, because that's what you're gonna pay me for it. But
it's what people will pay you for. Let's face it, at the end of the day, it's really
and what
hard.
you'll accept for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's terribly difficult. And without going into the kind of which is why it kind of gets bullshit, and the whole art dealing thing is, let's face it, it's a nightmare.
Let's go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, let's not go.
No, I want to hear more about that.
You want it?
Yeah.
The whole auction house thing, and the way that it's manipulated, and prices, etc. And then they won't let you in unless you haven't got an auction record. But sometimes it's better not to have an auction record, because then you don't have a predisposed market price, right? So there's this kind of whole game thing that goes on with it. And my father got so fed up with it that he got out he was in the international market. He was like the enfant terrible of the 70s, the Spanish kind of master and genius. And then I think he just got really fed up with his agent and the way that this whole process was going. So he just chose to paint in Spain and just be a proper, as a proper artist. You just created all the time. So he found this problem, but he sold them. But yeah, it's I don't know what to say. I mean, it's so difficult. What I was going to say was with platforms. Oh yeah. So do you have everything logged onto like a kind of a catalog, an art catalog program?
You know,
that should be really useful for you.
You know, you know what, that goes into the thing, because people want, that's also, it's sort of a double-edged sword. You know, you do the time, I could do all that, put the sizes and prices and all that shit, and but my stuff, I don't, that's why the brettwoods.com has been acting more of like a showcase and a portfolio for my films and my art, because if things sell, then it's not real. I mean, it's as a catalog, we can always do reproductions and all that stuff, but
yeah,
doing all the work, by the time I hopefully would have like put up images and the details of all that individual painting, and I paint so much. I had a pretty good sale earlier this year, about a couple months ago, that I reinvested about $3,000 worth of art into material.
Yeah.
And so I got a bounty of material that's you know, I'm producing, so it's like I want it to be out there. By the time hopefully it dries, somebody would have bought it. So doing all the work to maintain and put and catalog and photograph and do that, just so for me, somebody could go to your website, look at it, steal the image for free, go get another artist to do it for $5, and so on and so forth, or make a reproduction off the internet picture because of high quality, and then they could just decorate their whole place with your shit for free. Not saying that that's happening, but that's what you're open to.
You are, but that's why you have a watermark.
The watermarks, yeah.
Yeah, and you never put anything of a digital size. You'd never make it high res when it goes on the internet. Never do that. You keep your images small so that they can't. So that those are 2 tips right there.
We'll put those right there. Bing, bing. Tip 1, tip 2. We'll put that on the screen right now.
Don't do that. That is really a bad idea. Always keep your images small.
Even like on Instagram and Facebook?
Keep them small on that. They won't be able to blow it up to that much, honestly.
What's the technical size? What's the technical size when it says like, do you want, what format do you want the size of this photograph to be?
I think ours are on 300.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we're learning. We're teaching. Yeah. We're doing this out there so you guys don't have to. All right. We're crunching the numbers here.
I personally, I'm not promoting this one, but it was the only one I could actually work out how to use. I use a thing called artgalleria.com, and I painstakingly uploaded all the art onto it, and I've got 550 pieces because I'm basically running a museum here, or foundation. And so that was really good. So don't complain about putting your pieces on.
I don't zip it.
Don't use it. I had to do that. It was hell. And so yeah, but what is not, when it's done, you do have the records there, but also what you do have is if you sell a piece, you press a button and the invoice is printed out for you. You can do it all. It keeps your records, it keeps your tax records. And this goes back to, if you are an artist and you are creating a substantial amount of art, it's best thing to do is to be indexing, because you don't know, you might be in like freaking Guggenheim in 20 years time. Do you know what I mean? And you will not have a record of anything that went down. And some poor person like myself is going to be sitting there trying to do the provenance on Bret Woods and try and find all your art and paintings, and there's no records because you didn't put it into the system right now. So this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm trying to get artists to start doing, is think big, think of the future. You might not be this, but it's really important. And whoever it takes on, if someone's going to continue your legacy, they would be very grateful to have something already indexed. Plus, it's just really good for you to have a whole knowledge of what your art was. I just think it's really important. So yeah, that's the other tip.
I guess that's why I use Instagram as an ongoing, because I'm shooting as I shoot things and I produce things, they're all going up there as a catalog because it's in a now moment. And so that's the easiest, most accessible way for people to see my stuff that I've done.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's just a case of making sure that you know what you've done as well.
Yeah.
And what you painted and when you painted it and what medium it was in and stuff. That's, you just never know. You never know what's going to happen. Seriously. I mean, like, I'm sure my dad didn't think that one day, he's going to drop dead and I have to come into a studio and take paintings out and go through files, and they're all in Spanish, by the way. Everything's in Spanish, and I'm not fluent in Spanish, and I had to like choose what to take, and I don't know what I'm doing, but I mean, I made good choices, thank God. But
you have an English accent?
Yeah, I moved from Spain to London when I was a kid.
Flexing. Okay. I was like,
yeah.
You're a mystery wrapped in an enigma.
But I've been here for 20 years, so yeah.
So how have you sorry, this joint. Because I like we're in a situation. Okay, so we understand what's going on.
Yeah.
The internet. Okay, this is where we get Nostradamus.
Okay.
Okay, rest in peace, Mr. Paul Mooney. He died earlier today.
Right.
The comic genius, Negrodamus was amazing. But I always like to sort of propel into the future. So we've established what is going on and what your experiences are right now. What do you think this looks like in 5 years?
Yeah.
And I'm spitballing. It's not. You're not held.
Well,
This is not
no,
written
I
in
think
stone. What would,
no. Okay.
or what would you like to see happen?
I'd like to see myself not having to do this in 5 years, but there you go. I would like
Here's to
Gavin
that.
Stanyaman to be doing
It'll be
it.
Fiji.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be sitting in my little casa in Granada just drinking wine in 5 years, having
Right.
got out of this. But hey, no, actually, reality. What I actually would like to do is I want to create an art foundation in Spain, in my father's name, and I started talking about this with the mayor of the region, the Provenance, Jaén, and so they were like, yeah, because my dad's like the maestro of the region. And so they were going to give us a building to create this art foundation, an international art platform. And I could invite people like yourself to come over. There'll be residences, make the town a really great art region. And then, of course, COVID happened. So strike that down. Let's move to the future. In 5 years, I mean, this is personal. Okay, so that's where I want to be. I would actually like to be creating a foundation and working with artists and really inspiring and philanthropy and stuff all to do with the arts. I think in general, yeah, I think the internet is going to be the way forward. I think I did a blog on this actually a few months ago, and it's basically, it took what the art world had taken from COVID and learned, and people want to move forward. They see the internet and virtual shows being very much the way forward. I think it will develop. I think actual headsets might actually start to make an appearance, but it's going to take 5 years. I think because of sustainability and the environment, traveling, I think art fairs are kind of going to shrink. I think they're going to become much more VIP, and I think that's better. Like Miami Art Basel just turned into a party.
Yeah, it's a shit show. I got people over there just like, oh yeah, I'm an artist. I've got $1 million. Millionaires are going over there and acting like an artist, and they're picking up all the chicks. They're taking our women.
Everybody knows you go 2 days before it actually officially starts, the first day, and then you get the hell out of there. That's what I do. I'm like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're there.
It's so funny because we have
So-
art shows. Do you know what it was funny? Just interject real quick. It's a funny story. Is I remember when like the height of Venice, when people were like, we are blowing up, right? Everyone's having art shows, everyone's doing stuff. They're all, and then like LA Weekly came out with an article, where to go drinking for free.
Right.
Art galleries. So the artist pays for those for that shit.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone gets fucked up. The drug dealers sell ecstasy. You paid all your money for, and everyone's fucked up, and nobody buys anything. And it's like, what? And that was advertised in LA Weekly, and they had like 20 art shows you could go to with free drinks.
Shocking. I know.
That was what choked the shit out of it.
Yeah, no, it's totally true. Yeah, I know. Nobody buys art on the first opening party because they just go there for the booze and the party, and to be seen there, Instagram themselves. Yeah, I'm at this show. Bye. See you. Walk out. No one's even interested in art. It's just so stupid. It's like just trying to get some
It's so frustrating.
crappy. It's awful. Yeah, no, not into that. I want to see a difference. I want to see the proper collectors invited. I think it should be much smaller. COVID has done us a favor. It's getting rid of the riffraff. Let's concentrate on getting good people in who actually want to see stuff. And I'm not against free drinks, but you have to be a little bit choosy about who you give them to, right? I mean, so there should be guests. Proper nice. I mean,
I've got some stories.
Well, yeah, but that's
Abstract.
I do feel things are going to go more select, I think, and that's a really great way to do it. I think art fairs, if there are art fairs, there's going to be less of them, and I think they're going to probably be a bit more exclusive to stuff. I don't think it's going to go back to the way it was. Also, just with airlines, there's not, you can't jet set around the world like you used to going to. I used to do that. I had a great life. It was
that's
super
the part.
fun.
Yeah, it's like great.
Yeah, I was super jet set. I'd be like, my year would be LA, Mexico City, then Madrid, New York, set line, I mean, and go
It's
down
not to
the
like.
line.
It's not to like. It's a fucking beautiful thing.
What a line. Yeah, it's freaking brilliant. Are you kidding me? It was so cool.
Okay, check
And
this out.
drinking champagne.
Check this out. I just had an idea. Okay,
Yeah.
spitballing here. I just got this just now, but like, how about if I make a subscription for
Uh-huh.
people to get a newsletter or a
That's what you should
or
do.
or or a the 10 next paintings I just done
Yeah,
with a
absolutely.
little video and like, you know, some sort of incentives like a Buffalo t-shirt or
Yeah,
something.
absolutely. No, that's what you should be doing. It's marketing 101. Look, art now is just marketing. That is a way to do it. I think you should be writing a blog, and then you need to get it out there so people want to come to you, and we could do a blog together even.
I'm in. I'll do it.
We can do it. You know, you need to start creating some ways to get people to you. You need to get your database. So by creating a subscription, straight you're going to get your database, and then through your database, you can send out your newsletter saying your latest pieces of work. So it's all about getting people coming to you and finding ways to make that happen. The more you do these podcasts, the more you put yourself out there. You know, right now you should be saying subscribe to my newsletter at the bottom of the screen, right?
Yeah, we'll do that right now. We'll do that. We'll make that happen right now. It'll be there.
That just happened.
It's right there. Or it's right
Here's
there.
my magic. I can't wiggle my nose, so I'll just go poof.
There. It's on.
So yeah, this is how you do it. You just have to, that the more you do that, the more people are going to get attention to it. And you may think nothing's happening, but if you are out there all the time and people are seeing, say, one, like I'm looking at that gorgeous painting behind you, you know, I'm going, wow, you know, and the more I see that, I really want to buy that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but you have to.
These paintings are for sale. And all my videos, you guys, my paintings are for sale.
It's beautiful work.
Thank you. That's the new stuff. That's a palette knife.
It's gorgeous.
Loose and fun.
Yeah.
But I'm going into that world, and I'm gonna make it bigger. I mean, you know, take a slice of it, and I already have ideas because is there something that happens in the blur of the palette knife?
Yeah.
I'm just now in the infancy of actually articulating those images, but I'm started out with this horizon line and sort of landscape, so you can actually hang your eyes on something. So there's the sun is reflecting the water. Oh, this is how the weathermen do it. I just figured it out. This is how they do it. When they look at the screen behind them. But so there's an idea behind it, and so then hopefully the eyes understand that, and they go, "Oh, okay." And it's a world they can play in because they understand what it is at first. That's why the horizon line, just a simple horizon line. The ones I'm doing now, I just did this one that doesn't have a horizon line. So I'm gonna go. It's the new stuff. I'm really excited about it.
Chris, my father's art is he studied, it was a form, well, he created different styles of genres, but it kind of fell into something called interrealism, which you might like. Okay, interrealism, it was an art form, and it's an art that not many people know about, created in 1968. Fellini, the great Italian movie director, was part of this group. A lot of artists at that time, and you've got to think about it, this is a psychedelic time, right? It's the Beatles, it's Yellow Submarine. So it was a lot about metaphysics and about experimentation, etc. So this is when my dad started creating his works in Australia because he'd moved there. But it's really what you're talking about and how you want to create delve deeper into your painting. It reminds me of this style of this genre of art, and he kind of really decided that he was part of this movement because what it is, it's seeing with the third eye. So you look in the painting, the more you see as you go into the painting, the more you can explore into the painting. And that's kind of what you were saying you wanted to do.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
Blade Runner. It's like it's Harrison Ford going into the photograph and then going around the corner of the mirror.
Totally. So you're actually, and it's also about different realities. So I call it like the upside down from, what's the show? The True, I'm having a brain
The Pixar
fart.
movie.
Yeah, no, the TV show, it was in the upside down. Stranger Things.
Okay.
Yeah. So they went into different realities and stuff. So like the boy could see like the next kind of that's all about it. It's kind of cool. It's really trippy stuff. But as you're having a joint, I thought it might be quite relevant.
Yeah. Well, that's my life.
you, so I kind of know you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's it. You're speaking my language. This is great. Because it is, you know, as far as like a, you know, I'm a sort of a psychonaut. I've done many different types of ayahuasca in the Amazon, and peyote and a ritual in Nevada City with an actual the real deal and a teepee, and I love psychedelics, but also like I have psychedelics now. I haven't eaten them. There's a time and a place and a moment that you, and for the right people, it can actually unlock. And we're seeing mushrooms right now. I'm actually going to
Yeah.
put together like a mushroom moment, little fact thing with somebody. I've yet to find the person. I asked somebody I knew. Anyways, I want to do little mushroom fun facts because people should know about mushrooms. And I think it is, you know, when I first started doing them, like a million, like I guess the first time I did mushrooms I was like 30 or something like that. But late to the game. I'm a late bloomer, but it confirmed a lot of things, and I was able to that world was familiar. And I think a lot of people with certain trauma and drama and PTSDs, like I've had weird, I don't know, I'm sensitive, I'm an empathetic person, so I grew up as that way, and I didn't know. I always thought I was okay. I was like normal, like I didn't have a problem, but I had a speech impediment and a hearing thing as a child. I was held back in kindergarten and first grade, but the whole time I was like, I'm fine. I don't know what you guys are flipping out about.
Yeah.
But I was really hyperactive as well, so I was a lot to handle. But with the ideas of the world, and I'm not trying to be long-winded about this, but like it's like I think people can bring those psychedelic experiences into this reality without being like spun out. I jump all over the place, but so do people like art in Los Angeles?
Mm.
What?
They, they say they do. Do they like good art is the question. That's the question we should be asking here. Compared to New York or somewhere like Miami or New York.
Anywhere.
Different.
You think people here in LA are spoiled with the amount of art that they get to see and get for half the dollar?
Okay. I don't. There's some very good artists in LA and very good art galleries, though I'm not sure how many survived. But
None of them survive.
right, nobody.
None of them. Zero.
Yeah. So I don't think people in LA. It's got a lot better, but I don't think they get to see. Like, look, I go to Europe and I go to like the East Coast all life, and there's amazing art. Right. So it's like, are they just getting mediocre? I don't know. It's they think they know they're seeing great art, but I don't know if they are half the time because a lot of really good artists leave.
Yeah. Do you think that do you think they feel good when they, and I don't mean this facetiously, I've enjoyed every sale I've ever made. Only a few times have I had seller's remorse, or even buyer's remorse. But like do you think that people are spoiled with the good deals they get? They're used to getting a good deal. If they don't get a good deal, then I don't know. There's this weird, I guess what I'm asking is, does it feel good to rip off the artist? Do they not? And I don't mean like rip them off, like they know they're getting a good deal, but do they realize what
goes into
how good of a deal they got? And does it take pride in the fact that they got it for like pennies on the dollar?
Yeah, people do like to, obviously people like to wheel and deal here, don't they? I just I find that I'm not sure that they actually, I think there's a lot of people like to say that they're into art and they don't really know that really what's going on. I hate seeing artists or being on the side of the art seller, you know, the art estate. It's seeing when people come in and try and I'm seeing, you know what I'm seeing a lot of, and it was actually something on Clubhouse the other day. There was a discussion about this. There are a lot, so say I won't say which one, but for example, one of the major museums, art museums here in LA that hasn't opened again yet, they're having to get a whole new board of benefactors on board. And guess who's coming on? Young corporate people who are seeing this as a time to basically manipulate the market. I said it by coming in and bringing in new artists, collecting new. It's actually quite good for you if you want to. But they take the art for pennies, and then they're going to go in there, put them in the auction houses, and raise the value, and everyone's going to come in and buy it. And so they're going to maintain that value. But who's going to make the money out of that? Not the artist. So I think artists should start getting a better deal out of this and start getting a percentage of all future sales, which there was. I know in Europe there is something that is there is a technicality for that, and as an heir of a dead artist, I have technically any paintings sold through an official gallery or auction house, I should, in Europe, I get 5% of, right? And there's collection agencies. There's technically that is what is meant to happen legally. I think they stopped it in LA, but artists need to be protected moving forward, because this is what happens. Someone comes in, goes, this is a great body of work, let's buy them really cheaply, let's build it up, let's resell it, let's all make lots of money and a profit, and suddenly there's artists, with no disrespect, many haven't got a huge provenance or body, have not really done that much, they're suddenly escalated into this price range, but can they maintain it? It's just this whole kind of bull thing going on, and that's probably what we were discussing, touched on, but I've just come back to it because it is annoying. It's annoying, and yeah, artists are getting ripped off and they need to be protected.
Well, life is short. We got, like, I'm 52 now, I got like about 30 good years left in me, or 100 or whatever. But, like, okay, I want to jump to this other thing, because it's,
yeah,
okay, so what is and that it includes what we were just talking about, but, like, once a person buys a painting, do they own the copyright to that painting?
Technically no. Sure, no. And you can have that written into your sales invoice.
I have yeah, it's funny. Yeah, that's a whole another chapter of what we can go into with that aspect about.
Well, no, I know technically when I sell art, because I'm the owner of the estate, that I always maintain the copyright of the artist. So the artist should maintain his copyright.
Yeah.
But they can't do reproductions. We can. I know that. Yep. I have 2 law books on art in America. I have to study this a lot.
So when you know how people were sampling music, like, back in the day, LimeWire and then Napster and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And before, people stealing beats and getting sued, like Beastie Boys and all that stuff, or whoever got sued back in the day, right before this was all happening.
Yeah.
The same thing is happening with imagery, and I think now I could with TikTok and all these other things, using tight forms of music or whatever, and using that, which we could never do or wasn't think about. You didn't want to be sued, like, when in 1994 or 95 or the 80s or whatever. But, like, the same thing is happening in visual medium as well, where people are sampling visual styles, and that, like, I guess it's weird, because it's also, you want people to, you're influencing the way pop culture looks, and some of these artists and color palettes, form, ideas, and then, is that just part of being in the soup of reality? Is that this is all just part of the whole mix?
Now, okay, so yeah, sometimes, what is it? Imitation is the best form of flattery. Or is it? It depends how much they take and how much they imitate. And I think those are the key factors that you can decide if you can sue or not. It's kind of the same as the music industry. When they were taking the samples, what should we go to? What was that one with, I can't remember his name right now. There was recently, Pharrell and the sleazy guy.
Is Robert is thick sleazy guy?
Sleazy guy, yeah. That's it. So they got sued, right, for that sample, right? Which, how close?
Great song, actually. I love that song.
It's a great song, but regardless. So that one, but you can still. I know an agent who's doing this, and he's making his money by representing artists and going to court against everyone on Instagram that's stealing images, and he's winning. So if anyone needs that number, I will give it to them. But yeah, it works. But again, it's like how much. So before it used to be you can use up to what's 5 seconds or 6 seconds, and then
It's 3 seconds.
is it really okay less? So you could do that. So it's like how much of the art there needs to be, what can you take an inch, a square inch of a painting for free? And and again, I think maybe there needs to be new regulations. This is also actually something that was coming through when we were talking about the 5 years projection. These are things I'd like to see happening, that have been stated by really upcoming artists and galleries as how they want to see the art movement moving forward, and also like a lot of more equality as well, and artists' rights are the most important thing. I think there needs to be a change for artists and artists' rights here. Artists need to be protected. They need a union. I'm going to start a union for artists. There you go.
There you go. It's unionized.
I'll stick up for you. Yeah. No more. Yeah, I'm going to do that. It's going to be my thing.
All right. Sounds good. You hear it? That's a Brett's with Friends exclusive.
Yeah.
Brett's with Friends exclusive.
Cat starts a union for artists.
Yeah. That sounds like a good idea.
I'm not going to take it anymore. No one.
Yeah, because it's like where I think it's just convenient as far as the internet to the brick and mortar stuff hasn't been this kicked into high gear, but also I don't know, a lot of the gallery stuff that I've seen in the past without naming names is just like, I don't know, it is such a racket, and it's very like even I had it for right before the pandemic. We did a show running Washington and Lincoln, and I had a storefront that these guys gave me for 2 months, and it was amazing to have an art gallery. And my doctor passing away at the same time, it was a menagerie of emotions and stuff. But I had people coming in trying to get me to sell the artwork. This one friend, she's like makes purses, and I'm saying this only the story because I think people have experienced things like this, and maybe there's some sort of, you're not the only one. But now, I had her trying to sell these exotic purses, and I said, well, I don't really know if we can set up a booth, an area for you to stand around right now and do that. And she goes, no, you sell them. And I was like, oh, I got like 100 paintings in there that I'm trying to sell. And she's like, no. I said, I can't do it. She goes, no, you sell them. I was like, I'm not, come on.
Right.
But so it was the first time where I actually felt like I'd known what it was like to be when I'd come into that gallery and asked for my artwork to be up in there.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, did I come off that way and I bet I did. I bet I did.
Yeah.
And I was like, so it kind of gave me the flip version of how that feels. So
right. I know it's galleries are funny things. It's always a strange. Going back to, sorry, I'm digressing now as well.
Digress.
Going back to ways moving forward as an artist. Do you know, is it Steve Lazaridis, Banksy's old agent?
I don't know him.
So he had the Lazaridis Gallery in London. He actually just closed it down, and he's only representing a handful of artists now. But he got really fed up with the art world as well, and basically for everything we've been saying. He's a really cool guy, and he's basically like, art should be available to everyone, and it's time for artists to start working in different formats. So that's what I do a lot of, is taking art and turning, because I studied textiles, I see things with a very different eye. You are like my dad, you create visions onto your canvas. I'm not like that. I will take your vision and go, that would make a beautiful fabric, because I have a design eye, right? But it's very creative. I'm like a creative director and a designer. So and I can paint horses. That's it.
You're a horse nut.
I'm a horse person, yeah. So I grew up.
We'll talk about that in a second.
Oh.
Look, see, I love textiles as well, like in patterns, and psychedelic patterns and line work and stuff like that. What's the ease? I've seen a couple things lately where people, I grabbed them I took a picture when I saw them, but like printing your designs on fabric. And I wanted to be doing that very, very soon.
Okay.
I've wanted to always be doing that. But I mean, when I first started asking questions about that, like 15, 20 years ago, you would have to order a spool from China. And then that's like a $10,000 thing or a $5,000. You know what I mean? You need to do a bulk linen, thing, and then build whatever you want out of it.
Yeah, totally. Now, again, in the last 7 years, I'd like to say, this has really changed and upped its game. And even in the last year, this has gone even to a higher level because everything's print on demand now. So
explain that. What is that you just said?
Print on demand.
Okay.
So you can go onto, there's a lot of sites now designed that you can go, you upload your piece of art, and it'll give you a way that you can actually go online and you can create your repeats onto like a pattern of the garment. Then it will create this magic and basically create a Photoshop mock-up of what your fabric and garment is going to look like. And then if you want it, you go click, you buy it, it's printed. Just that thing that you've ordered is printed and then sent to you. So it's print on demand. They're not making reels and reels. You don't have to make huge quantities of orders anymore, which is brilliant. It's more expensive to do it this way, but is that a bad thing? Because you are creating a limited edition piece of artwork on a different textile. Basically, you're doing that. So you don't want to diminish the value of your art by creating too much. It's like creating limited edition prints. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
You can do an open edition, like something cheap, or why not keep it more expensive and less of them because it's still art. And I think this is a really interesting way to develop it. So, and again, maybe I might actually write a blog about this because obviously this is something of interest and people don't know. I take it that everyone knows because I do textiles. So, but there's a lot of very good sites out there. I've been looking into silk scarves again because I created a whole line of art silk scarves about 7 or 8 years ago in London. But I had them all manufactured in Milan, which is where like the top designers have those. So they're really beautiful quality and hand rolled. It was like Hermes, But you can do that here. You could be creating art onto silk scarves very easily in the format I just told you, and having it sent to you for like $70.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna just because it wasn't because how's the quality of the ink job? What do they use?
It's really good. There is all high definition printing now. And it's very high quality ink. It's really changed because when I started experimenting with this like 7 or 8 years ago, right? And it was not that great. And there was very, very few places you could do this. As you mentioned, it was hard to do. Now it's fantastic. They've just upped their game totally. And a lot of them in America that you don't have to go to China to do this. I mean, we opened a whole can of worms there because the thing about China is they don't do the copyright. So you are going to be you might well get screwed if they start saying that you're
you will be screwed for sure.
You will be. So I don't do anything with art and China because of that. For now, it's just not worth it.
Well, you don't have to have it made there for them to rip it off. As soon as it's out, it can be copied.
Only if it's successful. If they start saying it's successful, they will try and make a copy. If it's not that successful, you're fine. So I'm okay at the moment.
Yeah. So it's good to be successful, but not too successful. No,
yeah. It's when you're really successful, who cares, right?
Yeah, exactly. Once the dam has been broke, sitting on a well of
and it's like
fountain of activity. That's like I'm sorry, what were you saying? Sorry.
I think, but you're making money, so it doesn't matter. You're making loads of money, and let them do it.
Let them take from me. I have more to give you. You cannot. I am the well.
yeah, exactly. And then you change your style, and then you just have to they have to keep up with you.
That's it. That's the fun part about it. You can't really start like even my buffalo stuff. I mean, I've seen a few different knockoffs of that, and but I mean, I'm not the first person to ever paint a buffalo. So, or and I could tell that that's why the current version I have is more like a fingerprint,
Right.
because the other ones were filled in or whatever. It's evolved, like but I think it's like a Coca-Cola, the brand. You could change as long as you adhere to the structure, or
Yeah.
it still looks like a Brett Woods buffalo,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
no
Yeah.
matter how many different. It's like that. You want that the
Totally.
writing is right
Yeah.
there.
And that's the thing, as long as you do have your unique style, which you do, then you're okay. I think when there's a lot of artists that kind of morph into not being quite so unique. Not saying, they're obviously very good, because all art is good in its own particular way. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, I've never.
And you froze.
I've met some people that are managers, of artists, and I've never. And I've had a couple people literally flip out on me who were in the early days trying to manage me, literally crew, and but like some of the managers that I've met on some of these people, and I'm not saying this as a is some of them just I didn't get along with. And
Right.
I wasn't trying to have them represent me or anything, but I saw how they were. Like, I made a sale at one of my shows, and I did it with another artist, and she didn't make any sales that day. And then we all went out for drinks, and I made sales. I was, and that guy wouldn't even look at me, her manager, and he was just so like,
Oh.
because she's used to making sales, and but I was kind of put off by his lack of like camaraderie. If an artist sells something, I'm happy for them. Trust me, I was not happy that she didn't make a sale. I was
No.
just like, but like when I hear about artists like making a sale, I don't get jealous of that, or like I'm that's good. That make the sale, make that sell.
Yeah, no, of course. I don't, you know what? There's twats everywhere, aren't there?
Apparently,
There's nice people and twats.
yeah.
It's your job. That's it. Maybe he was having a bad day. Maybe he can't pay his rent because he didn't make any money and he was just really upset.
Yeah. Yeah. That,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Now you feel bad.
And now I feel like now we're gonna have to cut that last part out. Well, now I'm all sad. No, I want to get into textiles. I'm gonna do some stuff, and I'm gonna do some. But even coming back to that for a second, I think just in you describing that, I might just do some. I just might just do silk screens and just do the pattern on that real quick, and because I think I like having, they make those silk screens that are pretty big size. You get a sheet on that.
I
And then,
loved silk screening. That was one of my favorite things.
yeah, it's fun if
Yeah.
you go with a. So maybe instead of going through that route, the print word, I don't know. There's stuff happening.
Yeah, no, with what you do, and as an artist, I would go the silk screen route.
Yeah.
Uh,
But
for
that's more graphic-y though. I'd like to have this on a dress.
yeah.
You know what I mean? That's where that printing thing happens. Where I don't know if they could even get that. But
No,
that
yeah,
would be a pretty cool pattern to just the front of a dress, the gold splatter dust. I mean, I don't even know how you'd get that effect. Probably
exactly.
actual gold.
That's what I do. This is what I do. I look at that, decide which bit is the repeat and which bit to take, and then I'd create the repeat for you and turn it into a fabric. And then we could do custom fabrics. That would be really nice. And then you actually have the roll done, and then you could hand splatter on top of it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll do that. We'll do
Well,
that.
cool.
We're gonna do something's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen. So what? In the next last few minutes that we have here, we're gonna start wrapping it up. But like, what are there? Are there any things that you think would be pertinent for people to know that you wish you knew when you first started doing this? Like what sort of, I don't know, red flags, or how to maybe more navigate this terrain?
Yeah. I mean, I think for everything I've said earlier, so you have to watch from the beginning, is all relevant stuff. Documenting your work, having a good index of art, provenance, the history, sales, having all that on a website, such as Art Galleria, where you can just go straight in and do it. They didn't have that when I started. These have all developed in the last, how long have I been doing this? I've been doing this for 11 years, say 10 years, let's say. So that was non-existent back then, or it was very, very complicated. So I think platforms are becoming more accessible and easier to help artists manage their career. And it's all about, sad to say, and artists are not always the best people at managing and being managers. The really, really, let's face it, are
You're
not
being
the best.
delicate. You're being delicate right now. That's hilarious.
It's like musicians. I deal with musicians too. They're not always the best. So you need to have the self-discipline and start doing it, because unfortunately the millennials are really good at this. Right?
Yeah.
And they got it down, and they can go online and do and and then just not everybody, but you just need to wake up and start doing that. And I think there's a lot more platforms readily available. So I think the thing is, go out there and look at what you want to do and really start marketing yourself. Maybe do a marketing course, who knows? Just it's about marketing nowadays. I hate to say it.
Branding. Well, that's what my buffalo for talked about. I've been branding that for like 15 years now. So that was the icon of the brand, or my little Coca-Cola.
You see, you're ahead of your time. You just need to structure that. That's why I'm saying you need to start indexing, because you might be in the Guggenheim in 20 years. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I'm indexing. Every painting I have ever made, I have a photograph of it and stuff like that. And
Okay.
it's been
I've
documented.
got one of your paintings. I'll have to send it to you so you can
Which
see
one did
it.
you get?
The dolphin. It's really beautiful. It looks like an aerial view. It could be an island surrounded by water, but it's actually a dolphin. Oil paints.
You sure that's mine?
Yeah.
Okay. Check
Yeah,
it. Send me a picture of it.
Yeah, I will.
And I'll use it for the podcast. I'll put it on right now.
Cool. Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Send me a quick little JPEG of it or something. Gosh, this was a lot of fun. Where do I feel like I want to talk more, but I know that there's a whole world out there. People need to get to their lives.
It's been super.
Did you get your vaccine?
Yeah.
Which one did you get?
Double vex. The Pfizer.
Pfizer. Yeah.
Pfizer.
Did you have any?
I keep calling it the Pfizer.
Pfizer. Did you have any? What were your effects?
Talk about psychedelics. Yeah, I felt like I was like having a 90s flashback to going clubbing.
I'm going back for more next week of this.
Yeah, I was like, what's going on? Oh, I'm coming down. Okay.
Well, man, I lost some weight. I sweated like a maniac and took showers all day and laid around in the bed. I lost I didn't eat anything.
Oh no, I know.
I did the Johnson & Johnson.
It only lasted like 12 hours for me though.
Oh, well, good.
Yeah. Oh, you did the Johnson. My friend got sick from that one as well. Yeah. All right.
It was okay. Oh God, there's another question, but we're gonna have to do it a different time because let's do this. What was it? One more time. Was there one last thing? I felt. What are you gonna do the rest of your day?
I'm going to put out an art press release, and then I'm going to ride my horse.
Oh, what's your horse's name?
Farah.
Oh, how old is your horse?
She's 10. I had to put my other one down last week, so it's a bit.
I'm so sorry.
I know, thank you. So yeah, she's mine. Luckily, I had her to ease it all, so I'm putting all my time into that now.
Wow. Wow. Well, yeah. What's a horse fun fact that most people might not know about horses?
Arabian horses have one less rib than regular horses. I have an Arabian.
And on that note, Catalina Guirado.
Yes.
Cheadle.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate your time. I hope you had fun, and let's talk in the future. And I'm gonna hit you up about that textile stuff, and I can just print it out myself. But we'll talk more.
Yeah, no, let's talk, definitely. It's so nice to see you.
You too. Enjoy the rest of your day. And
Bye.
bye. See you later.
Friends with friends, friends with friends, friends with friends, it's never